Hi, I'm Jerry with Hilgersom Landscape Centre and welcome back to this landscape. Took many weeks of work and design, but here it is, the final product of this landscape for our project in Victoria Park. Come take a look. Things look a lot different than the last time you saw this project. A few things that you might notice have changed actually. We remember we were doing a raised bed here with some of that Stonehenge retaining wall block. We had put it in and it just wasn't looking right for the design. The customer wasn't quite happy with it. So what we decided to do is just take it out. We still wanted to maintain a planting bed, but instead we just made it a continuous ground level planting bed, which I think worked out really well. Now, to give us our interest in heights in this yard, we're using plant material. You know, we have a grafted dwarf Korean lilac over here that will give us a little bit of height. We have some trees in the front yard that will give us some height and some interest. And then of course all these bushes and perennials will really give it the look that we want. I find that it's always the planting material that brings the landscape to life and really takes it to the next level. The landscape here, you know, we did this paving stone lawn edge, if you remember. Now that it's bordering the lawn, the synthetic turf lawn, you can really see the purpose of it. Gives it some clean lines and defining the turf from the mulched beds. Landscaping obviously is very visual. You see all the plants, you see the brickwork, the hardscaping and that, but what you don't see is a lot of stuff that we put in beforehand. The irrigation system that we touched on in previous episodes, the lighting. You know, you can see a little bit of the irrigation system here. The customer, she's still tinkering around with some of the perennial plantings, so that is why the microtubing is still visible above the mulch. Normally speaking, this will all be hidden when it's all said and done. You know, this will all be hidden and you'll no longer see that. You'll just notice that it's providing the water that we need for all the plants. Same with the low voltage lighting. All the cables in that are underground, and it's just the beautiful light that is provided in the nighttime that really brings this landscape to life and extends the hours that we can enjoy it. In this design, it was really important to provide balance in the front yard. As you walk up the front steps, you'll notice that the steps are kind of off-centered, but we're still able to provide a bit of balance by making sure there's a bit of turf on this side as well as this side, just to kind of give it that visual cohesiveness. For this customer, it was really important that it be pet friendly. They do have some dogs, and it was important that you didn't have the yellow spots that may happen over time with dog ownership. So synthetic turf, we chose a turf that had a bit of a brown thatch underneath, just to give it a more natural look. And you know, the products nowadays are just amazing, like how realistic they look. So we did that more so for the pets, but also just for being water-wise. Obviously, this isn't going to need any water or fertilizer and things like that. So this landscape isn't 100% complete, which landscape really is, right? As you tinker around with your landscape, it'll always change over time. But what I'm talking about here is a few things are missing still. There is going to be a wrought iron fence in the front here, which I think will really add another element to this front yard. It'll almost make this front yard become more usable, like almost backyard space, which I think will be great for the pets, but also just for the look of this house. So we're now in the backyard and it's looking awesome. I love my job because when I come back to yards, they often look better than when I left them. This is one example of that. When we left, we had done no planting in here. They've done a fantastic job. Adding those plants really adds something special to this yard. Things like hanging baskets, yeah, little decorations here and there really makes it feel like a person lives here. It's a home, it's a nice yard for them. Obviously, the first thing you're gonna notice when you come into this backyard is this beautiful cedar pergola. We had to design it to fit the space. It's kind of a tight space. We wanted to do a bit of a quarter circle patio. So in order to do a quarter circle pergola, it's a little bit tricky, but I think we accomplished something really nice here. And now that it's been oiled, it looks tremendous. I mean, the natural cedar colors coming out just looks awesome, especially with this cedar fence as well. The patio itself, we use this estate stone. I think it works well with the house, just the style of the house, leading right to a doggy peek hole. You know, other than that, this yard, the backyard, is all about the planting material. You know, the planting material, as it grows and matures, they will ultimately become the star of the yard. This is a rugged charm maple. It's pretty small right now. It's gonna get, you know, about 20 feet tall. It's gonna really give some nice contrast in this yard, especially when their leaves get red in the fall. In the back there, we have a spring snow flowering crab, a very unique flowering crab in that it'll get bright white flowers, but it's not going to drop any of the crab apples, which y'all have to clean up. So, you know, just by choosing the right planting material, I think we'll have year-round interest in here, and it'll fill in the space and just look better and better, actually. Even the slightest vertical element, just like this Stonehenge retaining wall that we put in here, adds a little bit of interest into the backyard, you know, and it serves a purpose too. Just kind of holds back the planting bed and keeps it separated from the synthetic turf area. But you know, just a little detail like this really adds to the yard. Well, I guess that's a wrap on this landscape. We saw the design process, the installation of various elements in this landscape, and ultimately this final reveal in this beautiful yard. We had an excellent client to work with. The fun part of my job is we get to do so many different things and work with such great people. But ultimately, you know, we wanted to show you how to install some of these products, the different materials that you can use in your landscapes. I mean, there's so many choices, and sometimes I think it can be overwhelming as a DIYer if you're trying to tackle a landscape on your own. You know, come on down to Hilgersom Landscape Centre. Ultimately, we can guide you. We know what we're talking about. We have lots of experience in landscaping. You know, we're here to help you, whether it's choosing product or just getting some information about how to install the product. So for now, I'm Jerry with Hilgersom Landscape Centre, and thank you very much for watching.